John Carpenter's Halloween is considered by many to be the birth of the supernatural slashers of later years, helping to pave the way for the likes of Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. Halloween was a true horror classic, and ever since its release in October of 1978, people have been tuning in to watch it every year as a Halloween tradition. Then came the sequel in 1981, where they pumped up the violence, and it was a great sequel to the series. But then things got kinda weird with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, where we had an evil organization that wanted to turn people's brains into bugs and snakes. Sound weird? Yeah, it is. And super cheesy, too. The following sequels got progressively worse and more bizarre until eventually they released Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers in 1995, making it the 6th film in the franchise. In this film, we are introduced to the name of the curse that causes Michael to murder his family members, and we discover the ones behind it. Michael has been infected by an ancient curse, a curse that is said to follow a constellation of stars that only appears on Halloween, and with it comes ruin and death. Unless a great sacrifice is met, everyone in the tribe would suffer. So a family would be chosen to be inflicted with the Curse of Thorn. One family member would be selected, and they would be given the Mark of Thorn before they would carry out the sacrifice by murdering the rest of their entire family on the night of Samhain, or as it is more commonly known today, Halloween. The Cult of Thorn are a sect of druids that would carry out the sacrificial offering throughout history. This, however, is all just in the movie, and is completely fictional. But could any of that have any basis in reality? Well, we all know that human sacrifices have been made and curses have been believed from all reaches of the world. But have there been any like this? There have been some similar in nature, such as men on the ancient Greek island of Sardinia committing ritual genocide, in which fathers of 70 years of age would be sacrificed by their own sons to the Titan Kronos. But it is believed that this practice is derived less from an actual sacrificial offering, and more of not wanting the old people to vote and slow down the advancement of society. So they would throw them in a river to drown. Jeez. That's not the most democratic way of doing things in the land considered the birthplace of democracy, is it? Then, of course, there is the infanticide or killing of children by many cultures throughout the world. Many of these children given up by their own families, happily, as an offer to appease the gods so that everyone may live. Any of these practices are extremely, extremely rare today, but sadly, on occasion, they do still happen. But I haven't mentioned the Druids, you say. The Cult of Thorn is a Druidic cult. Well, there is some evidence that the Celts may have practiced some form of human sacrifice, but it is also disputed by many still. And I am not an archaeologist, so I can't really tell you one way or another on that. But what I can touch a little more upon is the curse itself, or rather, the symbol of the curse. The symbol marked upon the wrists of the Cult of Thorn, and upon the one cursed by it, is known as the Rune of Thorn. It looks simply enough like a thorn upon a twig. But after doing some research, I discovered there is no such rune. Well, not exactly. I found this set of Celtic runes on a Druidic Fellowship. I'll leave a link to their website in the description. The rune does exist, but as we see, it does not mean thorn. But it does mean something close. This rune is the symbol for the TH sound, as in, well, thorn. But there's more to it than that. There is no reason for this symbol to cause a person to murder his entire family. Right? Well, when you look at it as a rune, it is just a rune. Just a letter for a different language. But when you look at it as a rune bind, or vice versa, it becomes something entirely different. What is referred to as a rune bind is a sigil created from the combination of runes to form a new image. And in this case, that new image is, in fact, sigil magic. How's this done? Well, I'll tell you. But don't try this at home. I won't be responsible for any demons summoned from the pits of hell to overthrow humanity. And I'm not going to tell you every part, just the important bits. A sigil is made by finding out what you want and putting the power of that into the sigil. Then take the letters that form the request and form them into a jumbled picture. In most cases, one would also remove any vowels or repeated consonants from the word in order to be more direct with their intent. But this is not always the case. This is what I want to talk about. What if this Rune of Thorn is not a rune at all, but instead a runebind, or runic sigil? With this one, however, I'm not going to follow the vowel or double consonant rules, and I'm going to see what we get. Primarily because the rune is a very simplistic image. There is no intent behind this, so I'm not making a sigil. Simply seeing what an already made one could be. So keep that in mind. Let's take a look at the rune, or rather, sigil itself. It is a line with a triangle off of it. Nothing too extravagant. Now again, we see that it is the symbol representing the TH sound. But what other combination of runes could this be? Well, what does Michael Myers do? He kills people. He kills people. The rune for the C and K sound is kind of like a crude backwards C. The rune for I is simply that, a straight line just like an I. The rune for L looks kind of like a P missing the bottom half of its loop. Now, what happens if we put all these together? There you have it. This rune is not a rune at all, but instead, it could possibly be a sigil commanding Michael to carry out its intent. Its intent to kill his entire family. What did you think of this video, and what are some other movies you would like me to talk about? Make sure to let me know in the comments below, and give me a like and subscribe if you want. And if you like this video, you should go check out the first 2 episodes of this series where I talked about the human-faced dogs in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and the legends behind the ring. This has been Doughboy with Hardcore Academy, and peace out.